let's go ahead right now. Dan Carmody, he is the president of the Eastern Market Partnership. He is joining us this morning on the Oakland County MegaCast. Thank you for hanging in with us. I know I went a little long on the other interview. How are you doing, Dan?
Doing well. Thanks so much for having us. It's a pleasure to be here.
So I've been to the market. It's been a couple weeks since I've been downtown, and it does look like crowds are down. Although it's still a pleasure to always go and to have this in our backyard. How are things going for Eastern Market right now?
Well, all things considered, we feel pretty fortunate. We never closed. We're open year round on Saturdays, and at a time of year when COVID first struck, it was a time of year where we're in our smallest form, and we bridge to our biggest form, which is flower seasons. Most of your viewers probably are familiar with Flower Day, and the whole flower season is actually our busiest time of the year. We went from being slow to be even slower, and then as we came out of the depths of the lockdown over the summer, crowds have recovered. They aren't what they usually are, but they're still pretty significant. We've instituted a number of means to try to ensure that social distancing happens to the best that it can. And so far, our revenues, we didn't pack in vendors like we usually do. So there's like a 50% number of vendors. So actually, from a business standpoint, for those, say 100 and 125 that we serve rather than 250, many of them are experiencing years better or as good as last year, and some of them are down from last year. So what we have noticed is that while attendance overall is down, it's actually solved what we would call our tourist problem, in that Eastern Market over the last 10 or 12 years has become a more enjoyable place to come and spend a few hours recreating rather than shopping. And so what's happened is people come, they buy, and they leave. And that has improved our parking situation, and it's helped a lot of our vendors endure this tough time with sales that are in many cases equal to or more than they were this time a year ago. So crowds have stayed up. It'll be interesting to see as we do operate year round, as we move more indoors, people still feel comfortable coming to the market in the numbers they are in the summer and fall. We've instituted a number of pivots to make the market, resilient. We started in March delivering food boxes representing products from our Saturday vendors. You could actually drive through and pick it up without any human contact. At peak lockdown, we were distributing about 400 of those boxes a week. That number has dwindled. We're down to about 100, 125. We expect that number to go up as we enter the winter season. We also earned a contract with USDA to supply 2,000 food boxes a week to area social service organizations who distributed them free to help families impacted by COVID get through this tough time. And operationally, that was pivotal for us because we were able to replace lost earned revenue from renting space to vendors, fees we collected from producing 2,000 food boxes a week. So organizationally, we're not in great shape. Our revenues are down, but our expenses are down a bit more. We've had some spot layoffs, but have been able to keep our core team together. And so we're weathering the storm and getting ready for an equally uncertain 2021.
Yeah, because it's got to be hard for you going into the winter months because that's another slowdown season. Well, it's great to have the vendors that come out and they sell the Christmas trees and all things winter related. It's also harder to typically get people to come out there. And like you said, the tourist, so be it, from the suburbs and here and there to actually come down. So if it doesn't pick up, how long do you think you can survive?
Customers are customers. We don't care where they come from. It's the tourist to us is someone who comes down. It's not necessary to buy. That's that's not a bad thing. It's just that it has some aspects to it that aren't good as far as convenient parking gets sucked up by people who are just enjoying themselves, not buying stuff. It makes it harder to convey heavy items to your car and go back and get more.
Yeah.
We stay busy till Christmas. Our slow, the first quarter of the year, January, February, March, is when things really slow down. And over the last, up until COVID struck, that was one of the fastest growing parts of the year because we've diversified our offering, and there's a lot more value added products. So there's a lot more vendors than there used to be at the winter market. And so we don't expect the winter market to go away. There's a seasonality to our revenue. And so while the USDA program has gone away and we have less, income from that program, this is a time of year where our revenues would ordinarily go down as well. So we have to, do those hourly and temporary worker, those positions do respond to the seasonality of the market, which is heavy in the spring, summer, and fall, and not so much in the winter. We, in addition to running the market, we have a number of food access programs where, in addition to things like the USDA food box, we actually distribute a number of other healthy, nutritious food servings, whether it's popping up in farm stands in a non-COVID summer, that's 25 or 30 locations around Metro Detroit, whether it's distributing food to senior centers. All of those have sort of pivoted and shifted to create opportunities to continue to do some of that work as people aren't showing up at farm stand sites, but distributing more to specific locations and putting more things in boxes so that people have less human contact. We also work with the business community that's largely food focused around the market. Many of them were in the distribution business that distributed primarily to bars and restaurants and institutions, and their business, March 17th took a direct hit. We started a drive-through Tuesday market during the peak of the lockdown. So every Tuesday from 1st of April to the middle part of June, we had as many as 12 district businesses basically that are in wholesale trade be able to sell people caseloads. And so people drove by, they pre-ordered, someone came out and put the case of chicken fillets, the case of corned beef, whatever it was. We had meat, we had bakery, we had fruits and vegetables, we had mushrooms, we had a pretty nice mix. People could buy in large quantity, and so a lot of people enjoyed that. We actually had traffic backed up about a mile at our peak. As people got more comfortable coming out, that went away. That bled into our seasonal markets that operate on Tuesday and Sunday. They're variations of a theme of what you'd find on Saturday. Many viewers still don't know about those markets. They're not nearly as popular as the Saturday market. The Tuesday market's a small model of the full market. It just fills one shed. It's food related, a lot more local growers. The Sunday market is more about stuff, people making artisan products, t-shirts, craft items. Both the Tuesday and the Sunday market were like the Saturday market, lower crowd counts, but more buyers, fewer shoppers. And so, again, we limped through. It wasn't what we'd like to see. The Saturday market has definitely felt the least effect. The other two were greater, but our vendors report, again, not down as much as you might expect with the dramatic reduction customers. And then the use of the market for other people's events, whether it's weddings or corporate fundraisers or nonprofit fundraisers, that had become a significant part of our revenue stream, generating $400,000 to $500,000 a year. That business virtually went away. We're starting to host a variety of drive-through and smaller scale events, which our facilities lend themselves to because they're big empty spaces that you can fill with fewer people. But that certainly hasn't. The revenue we get from those events is far below what we're used to. So as we look to 2021, as you heard with the Arab American Museum, we've had to dial up our fundraising. We've gotten additional support from corporate and philanthropic sponsors to help fill the gap along with the USDA food box contract. And so, we're projecting revenues next year 75-80% of a normal year, up from 50 or 60% that we endured this year, but still far below what we're typically used to in a normal year. So,
Dan Carmody with us, the president of the Eastern Market Partnership, joining us on the Oakland County MegaCast. Dan, with that in mind, with your forecast for 2021 in mind and everything that that the Eastern market has been through since March and has learned since March, what that has been in operation or that has been in practice at Eastern Market over the course of this pandemic will persist and continue on even after we are beyond COVID-19 and be part of what we regularly will see down at Eastern Market?
Yeah, well, we'll gauge the food box curbside pickup and delivery options for both paying customers and also for our food access work, where we're providing free food funded by other people. We're going to have to pay careful attention to see which of those have legs and can stay. I can foresee a future in which the Saturday market will have a drive-up feature for those people that, from a convenience standpoint, I would prefer that. And we think the Saturday market is a tremendous flavor of urban chaos that everybody wants to get out of their car. But you can, if you're a senior, if you got small kids, maybe you don't want to jostle with 30 or 40 of your closest 1,000 of your closest friends. And so we'll evaluate various forms of delivery. We also want to continue to work with the businesses around Eastern Market that are primarily wholesale related to see what we can do to help grow their business in that sort of hybrid space where they're offering a greater opportunity for retail sales to people who want to take advantage of larger bulk purchases at better pricing. And then, what we've seen is because of the economic downturn after the 2008 meltdown as well, a surge in the use of EBT benefits, the bridge card, SNAP benefits, and other aligned, where vulnerable households can actually increase their purchase of healthy and nutrient-dense foods. And what COVID has exposed, I think, is so many of the underlying conditions in this country that led to the spike in death from COVID are diet-related diseases. Whether 40% of those who died from COVID worldwide were diabetic. And there's one disease that's almost entirely treatable, type 2 diabetes at least, almost entirely treatable by changes to diet. And so we would like to think that we can use this pivot point not just at Eastern Market, but as a region where we can adopt healthier and more nutrient-dense foods into our diet on a more regular basis. And whatever we can do to help that across the board, from the most pricey exotic mushroom to the most affordable basic fruit and vegetable item. That has been the role of the market since its inception. And not to be lighthearted too much, but we're old hands at this pandemic stuff. We were here during the Spanish flu, and there's not much of a record left of what we encountered then. So I think one thing we should do is leave some better notes for future administrators that hopefully this won't happen again for more than 100 years.
I'll definitely hope on that one. Dan Carmody with us on the Oakland County MegaCast. He is the president of the Eastern Market Partnership. And I know for most people, when they think Eastern Market, they just think about the sheds downtown to be able to go down and buy their flowers and their produce. But you guys do so much more than that. You're about education. Do you want to talk about that side of the house right now?
Yeah, we see improving diets as a three-legged stool. We make it real easy in the United States to buy highly processed foods that may or may not, have nutritional value. So fruits and vegetables are a little bit more costly per calorie, and so we try to support all sorts of alternative currency programs, whether it's the federal government's SNAP program or other local programs that provide doubling benefits to those who have say a $50 SNAP benefit per week. They can get another $50 from the Fair Food Network's Double Up Food Buck program. And we also are increasingly working with the medical community where doctors actually make prescriptions for fresh fruits and vegetables to people who could benefit having those. Hopefully that's actually a game changer that over the course of time that insurance companies start to make that an allowable benefit. that if you're
If I
pre-diabetic,
can just
doctor
interrupt
orders up.
you quickly for just a second, you kind of froze a little bit on that portion. I find that fascinating. So you're saying doctors may actually write a prescription for
Right.
fresh food?
We've been doing this in pilot form for about 4 years now, and we do have two insurance Medicaid benefit programs that are looking at investigating whether they want to make that benefit available to their participants. So that would be a huge game changer instead of relying on philanthropic investments to make that connection between the seriousness of your medical condition and the importance of food to help solve it is something that this fresh prescription, we call it, number of programs around the country trying to prove the connection and show the data that would inspire policymakers to look more favorably upon that as a legitimate benefit from various health insurance formats.
You're listening to 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake, 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. We are joined on the Oakland County MegaCast by Dan Carmody. He is the president of Eastern Market Partnership. Dan, just another minute or so with you here on the show. Anything we didn't touch on that you want the viewers and listeners to know about Eastern Market and all that you're doing down there?
You know, we are a nonprofit, and we have relied more on giving this year to get by. So, if you visit our website, www.easternmarket.org, you'll find ways you can support us. We do have a version of our gala. Our fall gala used to be the best farm to table, then 8-course dinner you'd have available. We can't do that, obviously, large gathering, but we're working with 10 chefs around Detroit, and we'll be delivering meals to people's homes. 8 orders of 8 or more, so people can have their friends over and enjoy the bounty from Eastern Market and support us that way. And it also supports the chefs. So we're splitting the profits this year between Eastern Market and the chefs, because we know as they go into winter, those that have been open in the summer with outdoor dining will be in much tougher position over the winter as things go back indoors.
And where can people find out information about that?
That's also on our website. Again, just best way to touch base is www.easternmarket.org. And in addition to food access programs, we also do a lot of work around food entrepreneurship, trying to grow businesses into the food space. So we incubate them, we develop them, trying to provide wealth earning opportunities for Detroit households, as well as down the road additional job opportunities. There are 1,500 food processing jobs currently in Eastern Market. There's about 6,000 jobs overall. We're a major employment center, and our organization leads the charge to make sure that Eastern Market has the space to be able to expand and be relevant another 125 years into the future, as we have for the last 125 years.
We would love that, because Eastern Market it's a tradition. It's become a family tradition, and it's also a staple and an important staple in our community. So Dan Carmody with the Eastern Market Partnership, we so appreciate your time this morning on the Oakland County MegaCast. We wish you and the rest of your team the best of luck as you continue to navigate this pandemic. And like you said, you were here for the 1918 Spanish flu. Let's hope we don't go through another pandemic and come out of this one soon.
Thanks. It's been a pleasure being with you this morning.